Hello beautiful people, welcome to a new series, just a little short three-parter that I'm doing about perfumes I think would be really good for wearing to work, so office friendly scents. Now obviously certain people are going to have offices where no friendly scents exist, or like you can really only wear musks or very, very close skin scents. But most of us, as long as we're thoughtful, I think we can get away with wearing perfumes in shared spaces. And I've got some here that I just think would be really good, not too offensive. Some of these are a little bit stronger than others, but I feel like it's about how much you spray. And if you only put a few sprays on, you're going to get away, I think, with not overwhelming anyone with these. So this series is going to be a very affordable, aka, well, cheapies, and then another video that's more of just what other people would consider to be like cheapies, but I consider to be affordable perfumes. And then we're going to have some that are, to me, expensive, most of which, to be honest, again, other people describe on YouTube as affordable. But I think if you're paying over £50 for a perfume, I think that, for me, is quite an expensive scent. So certainly anything over 100 I think is really expensive for fragrant water. I know it obviously depends on your budget, but for my budget personally, I like my cheapies, I like affordable, and I like the expensive stuff that is hopefully under £100 and occasionally over, and it has to be pretty damn special to go over. So this first episode is cheapies, because we are doing Frugal January and it's time to talk about some perfumes that I think would be fantastic for work, that just smell really good. You'd smell amazing, but they are not going to cost you a fortune, and all of these in the UK you can get for under £20. So let's start with a perfume that I think genuinely is just one of the greatest perfumes to wear to the office, full stop. This is still from Jennifer Lopez. Obviously, loads of people talk about this, and it is extremely affordable. It's extremely lovely. It's kind of one of those weird perfumes that has an overall light and slightly airy feeling, because it's a tea perfume. It's a little bit fruity. It feels kind of sheer, but it's very strong and it lasts all day. So like for a tea perfume, it's really quite incredible. It's a real achievement, and it's also in this spectacular bottle, which is a faceted, very gently faceted glass. You can't really see it very well, but it has a very slight kind of purpley sheen. The print is on the back, so that what you're actually seeing is the kind of seeing through from the back at the front, and it's just the colour of this glass makes me so happy I can't even tell you. So even ignoring how classy this bottle looks, and for a celebrity perfume that's relatively rare, it just, to me, smells classy. It smells chic, it smells clean and fresh, but it smells to me like a boss lady. I wear this to work in hot weather when I'm having important meetings, when I want to smell good but I don't want to overpower people, and I just want people to think that I smell like I know what I'm doing. I love this perfume. This is 100ml. I have over 300 perfumes in my collection, so the fact that I have any kind of dent in a perfume is always, testament to whether it's one of my favourites. This is also possibly my husband's favourite perfume in my collection. It's the one that he really, I think, reacted the best to when we've done our kind of smell tests. He really loves this one, and he literally said to me, I will just buy you this for your whole life if you want. I was like, nice. I normally buy my own perfumes. He doesn't, normally say that kind of thing. So this is a really good one. The notes include Earl Grey, apple, it's got a rice note, it's got like honeysuckle, iris, there's cedarwood, there's musk, there's definitely a pepperiness. Personally, I think that this smells like a cold cup of jasmine tea with a crisp green slice of sharp apple in it. That's the main thing I get from this. I think it's gorgeous. It's just one of the greatest. It really is. So that's still from Jennifer Lopez, and definitely a fantastic office scent. It probably wouldn't come as a surprise to anyone that there's a Sarah Jessica Parker perfume in the cheapie video. Most people probably would put the original Lovely in this particular list, and I get it. I have recommended that to my friends for a signature scent before, and one of my friends, I think, actually now does wear it as a signature scent. It's really, really good, for signature scents. But it's not my favourite from the Lovely collection. I only have a miniature of it because I find it a little bit sharp and I don't love the patchouli in it. So for me, Born Lovely is the best from the Lovely range. Normally this would have a little bow on it, but I'm not really a bow type person, so I took the little pink bow off. But if you do like a pink bow, this normally comes with a bow. So Born Lovely, one of the things that's great about this is it's amazing in hot weather, but it also smells really lovely in cold weather, and you kind of get a little bit of a different thing in different times of year. So this includes notes of peony and cassis. I think those are the main things you get. There's also some other florals. There's some wood, and sometimes that wood is a little bit more prominent depending on the time of year. But there's also patchouli and caramel in the base. I traditionally don't love patchouli. As I said, I don't love patchouli in the original Lovely, but I do think that in Born Lovely, it's quite subtle. Again, at different times of year, you're going to get a little bit more of it, but it's very much overwhelmed by the clean, fruity floral going on that really, to me, smells almost like a bit like clean, wet laundry that is very much crisp and flowery, so it still smells very feminine. And in colder weather though, I can get a little bit more of a sense for a hint of caramel. I think in just generally in this perfume, the caramel, it just stops it from being as sharp as the original Lovely, but it's not necessarily recognisable as a caramel note. And then in colder weather, you can just get that little hint, and I think it smells a little bit more similar to Lovely in colder weather. But my goodness, I love this one. I'd have a bigger dent if it wasn't for the fact that I also had a rollerball of this I used to take to work with me, and I have a massive body spray. And the body spray of Born Lovely, if you really want to even save more money, Born Lovely body spray is amazing. I think it might be even more delicious than the eau de parfum. So it depends on whether you want this beautiful bottle or whether you're happy to just have a big body spray. But Born Lovely, I think, is a fantastic perfume to have at work. There it is, gorgeous. We're very much sticking with the celebrity scents, and that's because they do tend to be cheapies. Like most of these, I think most of these 100ml bottles were under £15. So this little lady is a Britney Spears Fantasy perfume. This particular one is Fantasy Sheer. So please excuse the cut on my finger, by the way. I did manage to grate myself the other day. So Fantasy Sheer. Now, I don't like the original Fantasy, and I would never recommend wearing that to work because I think it's cloyingly sweet. It's also a little bit screechy to me, and it doesn't feel like an office scent to me personally. Obviously, I mean, there will be occasions where I wear things equally that sweet, but it wouldn't be one that I would think of as an office scent, if you see what I mean, just for general signature wear. Whereas I think Fantasy Sheer, if you like the original Fantasy, this is a much more approachable, easier, fresher, zingier version of the original Fantasy. The reason being, it still has that kind of plasticky cupcake note in the base that's really quite sweet and has that kind of buttercream frosting sweetness. But there's iris, there's water lily, and there's tons of citrus. They call it citrus water, I think, in this one. And it gives it a very, very kind of nice, sharp lemon mixing with that cupcake. Yeah, so it's like really fresh, it's really girly, and I think that this one, it's kind of addictive. I got quite addicted to this when I bought it. This, and to be honest, the other one, which I think would equally be as good, which is the Jungle Fantasy, the watermelon one. They both have the same kind of plasticky, yummy cupcake in the base, but then they have this really nice, watery, juicy fruitiness and this sheer quality, which stops it being as sickly as some of the other perfumes in the Fantasy range. And it's really affordable, it's really pretty. I really, really like this one. So if you like classically kind of sweet, candied, really girly, slightly younger feeling perfumes, but you don't want to overwhelm people at work with how sweet you are, I think this is a really good option. I think it's really nice. So that's Sheer Fantasy from Britney Spears. I think it's really, really pretty. So next up we have Guess Girl. This is the original Guess Girl. This normally has a huge plastic flower lid, but I got this as a tester bottle, so I don't have the original lid, and I'm not sad about it because I really don't like the lid. But, I mean, you could change it out. You don't need to necessarily have it on. This, I think, is one of those really, really safe fruity floral perfumes. It's very pretty, it's girly. This is another one where my husband's told me I smell nice when I'm wearing it, because it is exactly the kind of thing that I think men tend to respond to. Not that you'll want that for the office, obviously, but in terms of like, it's just pretty. So truly, it's just a very pretty, flowery, sweet, but ever so slightly tangy tart perfume. It has raspberry in it, it's got orchid in it, it's got a little bit of sandalwood and vanilla. I'm quite sure there's also some musk in here, because I recognise it from other Guess perfumes, and I really like, they have a very slightly bar soapy musk, which I really enjoy. And I think that Guess Girl has that as well. This is the kind of perfume I think that if you like things like, I'm not saying it actually smells like Miss Dior, but like in terms of looking at the general kind of sense that you get, I feel like this is the, overall everyone's going to think it's quite pretty, you know, Miss Dior kind of style of perfume. I think this would be considered like universally quite pretty and an easy reach, easy wear. And, you know, I have quite complex perfumes in my collection, and so I wasn't really sure whether I'd keep this, but whenever I've smelt it and whenever I wear it, I think, yeah, no, that's got to stay with me, just because it is just so easy and pretty, and I just think it would be perfect for the office. So that's Guess Girl, and I mean, there's so many good Guess perfumes. I've got another one coming up soon, but just overall, Guess, I think, makes some excellent office scents. This one is Ted Baker W. So this is the current bottle that you get with W, but it has been in a couple of different bottles. They're always the same shape, but I actually have the old version of this that I keep at work as well, which has a pink liquid and a white W on it. But this clear bottle with the red W, this is the current bottle of W. On Fragrantica, this gives notes of violet and fig and raspberry and orchid. I think on the side of the box for this one, it also mentioned things like apple blossom. It had slightly different notes, but to me, they smell almost identical. I think the pink one just smells a tiny bit more violet-y. But this is truly just a beautiful, happy, fruity, flowery, kind of sheer spring-like perfume. There's something about this one that I just find so lovely. I'd say Guess Girl, that one has a slightly thicker, sweeter feel to it, and it's a bit more musky feeling. This one doesn't feel musky to me. This feels very floral, but there's a real juicy raspberry running through this, which I think is beautiful. And it does have a sweetness, a kind of slightly sweet, sugary feel to it, as while still having the slightly astringent florals. I just think this is lovely, and I think that if you wore this to work, everyone would think you smell absolutely lovely, without ever being overwhelming or, you know, making people feel a bit like queasy with how strong your perfume is. As I said, I have a bottle of this I literally keep at work. So I really like Ted Baker W. I think this is a really pretty perfume, and yeah, so it's lovely. It just smells great. I feel like every office perfume list really needs to have a really nice woody scent in there somewhere, and for me, even though this actually madly lists cedarwood, this smells very much like a creamy musky sandalwood perfume to me. Beautiful, creamy, kind of, it has a thickness to it because of the musk, but I don't ever find you can overspray this one personally. I love this. A lot of people say it doesn't last, but I think people go osmotic to it the same way they do with things like Santal 33. But you can smell it on your clothes for like months afterwards, so I think other people can smell this on you. So again, like, even if you can't smell it too much, I think you're still going to smell absolutely beautiful. It's got plum in it, it's got white tea in it, it's got loads of different musk, but there's a lot of lovely tonka bean here, which sweetens it up, makes it really, really beautiful. It smells cold to me, cooling and cold, and it's just gorgeous. I'm obsessed with Katy Perry's Indi. I think it is beautiful, and it's just one of my favourite perfumes in my collection. It's one of my top 20 for life out of 300 odd perfumes. So this one I think is amazing. I love wearing this one to work. My husband literally describes this to me as, this is you, this is Cass, like at work being a boss perfume. That's what he thinks this one is. So that's Katy Perry's Indi. It's extremely affordable and it's totally wonderful, and yeah, I love it. I think it's amazing. We're getting up close and personal for this one, guys, because it's just a little 15ml bottle. So this is Guess Seductive Noir, and it is a gorgeous vanilla perfume. I felt like we had to have at least one vanilla perfume in all of these lists, and I think that this is such a good, affordable option. So this is indeed quite similar to one of my all-time favourite perfumes, Mon Guerlain, and it has slightly different aromatics. It also has, I think, more vanilla, but it's definitely in that same kind of profile, generally speaking. This one, instead of lavender that you get in Mon Guerlain, it's sage. You've got this beautiful iris, and you've got this lovely vanilla. It says there's suede in it as well, but I don't think it's got a really strong suedey, leathery scent in here. I think the old notes used to say that there was a satin note, and it didn't used to say leather, so I don't know. I don't know what's right and what's wrong. All I know is that this really reminds me very much of the Eau de Parfum Floral from the Mon Guerlain flankers. That is a perfume that has more vanilla, less tonka. It's got a little bit less of the lavender and a little bit less of the licorice. And so I think that that is kind of what this Seductive Noir smells like. And I think it's sexy. I think it's sweet and cozy. I think it's a really good option to wear to the office because it is no way overwhelming. It's just very nice. You will smell very pretty, you'll smell classy, but you'll smell sweet and yummy at the same time. But you're not going to overwhelm people because it's not got a huge throw on this perfume. The scent bubble is relatively small. So yeah, I just think Guess Seductive Noir is a fantastic option for anyone who wants something kind of sweet and cozy but doesn't want to fork out for Mon Guerlain. So this is a bit of a blast from the past. I only have the miniature of this now. I did have the 100ml bottle, but it seemed pointless keeping it because I wasn't really wearing it enough. But in terms of like having a signature scent and wearing something to the office, I do think if I wore something all the time, like this would be a nice option. This is True Love from Elizabeth Arden. You really can only get this in 100ml bottles now, like big bottles. And what I quite like about this is that it is a classic tangy floral. Now, I have a few tangy florals in my collection. I really enjoy them. You will see one in my more expensive perfumes later in the third episode of this. But in terms of like getting a bargain, obviously I had to have Elizabeth Arden in here, and I could have said green tea. Everyone says that. Everyone knows that's perfect office scent. I could have said Mediterranean, which is one of my other... I mean, it is one of my absolute favourite perfumes, full stop. But I do think in terms of like having like a really good everyday office scent, True Love is actually a really beautiful perfume. So it has quite a lot of notes because it's a classic, but I think this smells like a very tangy rose perfume. It's definitely got loads of iris. It's got this like orrisy butteriness and a powderiness from the iris. It's also got heliotrope and sandalwood, which can be quite powdery, but it's very tangy. It's got a very tangy apricot note. And I do think you have to watch out for this because when I first put this on, I'm like, ooh, it's got a little bit of kind of pear droppy, slightly hairspray feel about it. But then it dries down into something really beautiful. Yeah, and I'm getting a tangy apricot and rose with a little bit of iris, and I just think it's very cute indeed. Really lovely. I think this one's beautiful. So True Love from Elizabeth Arden, I think you can get a 100ml bottle normally for between like £10 and £15, and I think it's gorgeous. It's not too strong, but I think it smells very pretty. And yeah, it's absolutely lovely. So that is True Love from Elizabeth Arden. It's my little tiny little mini. So here we have another little mini that I've got, and often if I have a mini, unless it's something I think I'm going to wear all the time, I will just keep the mini because I have so many perfumes. So when I say I have over 300 perfumes, I'm not really including the minis in that. But this is Candyland from Jeanne Arthes. So this is my answer to people who want to wear a very affordable perfume to work, but they really like very sweet, candy-like perfumes. So obviously we've got the Britney Spears. That one is kind of more tangy. It's citrusy. This one does have a little hint of like a floral going on in it, but it is just a sweet cotton candy-like yummy fruity perfume. I feel like Weirdly to me, this smells almost like it sits somewhere between Victor and Rolf's Bonbon and Stella McCartney's Stella Pop. It just is kind of sitting somewhere in between those. It's not quite as floral as Stella Pop. It's maybe not quite as caramelly and sickly as Bonbon. But this, I mean, it has like caramel in the notes. It's got milk in the notes. It's got melon and blackcurrant. It's got candy floss. But you can get this 100ml bottle for well under a tenner. I love the Boum perfumes. I think Boum Savon is fantastic. My favourite by a long run though is the green tea and cherry blossom. But they have some really excellent, sweet, not overwhelming scents in their collection. But I think in terms of like wearing to on office, this will be beautiful for you. This is going to be like, for people who like things like pink sugar, this is going to be lush. This is going to be so fun to wear. But unlike pink sugar, it's not going to fill a room. It's not going to be incredibly strong. It's not going to be too sickly to people who don't like sweet perfumes. So I think it would be a fantastic option to wear to an office. So yeah, that's Boum Candyland from Jeanne Arthes. And let's finish up with this little beauty. So this is my little oil of Alyssa Ashley White Musk. I think it's quite hard to get the oil nowadays, but you can easily get the spray and it's super affordable. I know a lot of people have talked about the original musk, just the general musk from Alyssa Ashley. I find that one too animalic and I prefer Jovan musk over that one. But in terms of a really nice white musk, this is the only just literal white musk perfume that I have. So obviously you can get the Body Shop white musk, which I can barely even smell and I don't really love. And there's lots of other white musks. I don't like Jovan white musk, for instance. I find that one too buttery. This one I think is gorgeous. It has lilac in it. It's got like this interesting note from tarragon. It's got the classic combo of florals that you tend to get in a lot of the older musks. Jasmine, ylang ylang rose. It's got loads of bergamot. So it's kind of citrusy, and then it has this gorgeous white musk that isn't too animalic. It smells nice and clean, but there's a beautiful sweetness in this perfume. And I will say this about Alyssa Ashley White Musk. It isn't a billion miles away from the scent profile that you get in Chanel No. 5 Le Eau. So if you kind of take out the recognisable Chanel DNA from Le Eau and you just keep the kind of citrusy white musk clean scent that you get from that, it's very, very similar to the kind of thing that you get with Alyssa Ashley White Musk. I think this is absolutely gorgeous. The spray I think is a little bit more shampooey than the oil, but it's still nice and clean and really fresh. And you don't want to overspray it, that's the only thing. Just make sure you only use a little bit because it grows on your skin and it gets stronger and stronger the longer you put it on. So you don't need to spray loads of it on. But yeah, I think this is a good place to end because I do think a nice musk is like a really easy thing to wear to work. Like really delicious, you'll smell really clean, you'll smell really beautiful. And I think Alyssa Ashley White Musk makes my favourite of the sort of really simple, clean musks. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you have any of these or if you've got any good ideas for amazing office scents that are, really awesome and cheap, please do put it down below in the comments and come back if you'd like to watch the next one, which is going to be affordable perfume, so over 20 but under 50. See you then. Bye.